Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dairy Raid, and today we're going to do a little Q&A. Asked for some questions the other day on Twitter, so I got some good responses there. Also went through and I saw I had a backlog of some questions from the last time I did a Q&A, so I grabbed a couple that I think fit where we are in the season right now and are still applicable, so we're going to go through it there as well. So what we're going to have here is I'm going to take a few questions here, going to answer them on YouTube, also going to write out some answers to a few of these questions, both for my Substack and also for Badger Notes. So take a chance, look at all three sources, and you can get a little bit of everything from there. All right. So first question we have here is, which scenarios do you see DC, Mike Tressel, using or going to the Psycho Front? The Psycho Front it's something that's been brought up. It was noticed at practice over the weekend, I believe, where the Badgers came out personnel-wise in a 1-5-5 personnel grouping. That's commonly referred to as the Psycho Front. Again, you would see this was used in the NFL for a few years ago, actually more than about 10 years ago now, and it was common with the Green Bay Packers. A lot of teams that ran 3-4 as a base, they would come out and run this Psycho Front as a situational change of pace kind of defense. It's not going to be a base every down defense. I see it as a defense that you're obviously going to see in third and long situations. We're looking for pass rush, but we're also going to be looking in fronts or in situations where the offense is going to be aggressive, and where the short gain is not necessarily what they're going for. So what situations would that be? Second and short. Situations where teams are going to take a shot because they know worst comes to worst, they're going to come back with third and short, run the ball, get a first out. So why would that be a good situation to use the Psycho Front? Well, what you're trying to do is to create confusion and hesitation in a situation where an offense is trying to be aggressive. Second and short situations are a great time to run play action, RPOs, package plays, etc. So if you give the offense a bad read by alignment of personnel and then be able to spin out of that because you have a more athletic personnel group out there, you can create confusion, you can create havoc. But it's also a bit of a misnomer with the personnel because, yes, they're going to have linebackers playing on the edge. But you get a guy like Jaheim Thomas who has played on the edge. He's played up on the line of scrimmage before. So that's not necessarily going to be an issue. It's just going to be using them a little bit different. Again, we've been using outside linebackers as edge players at Wisconsin for over a decade now. So not a huge amount has changed there. And if it's a situation where we're not expecting a downhill power run, then why not put your best 11 bodies out there? So changing a slower, bigger defensive lineman for a more athletic outside linebacker is not necessarily going to be a bad thing. So it'll be interesting to see. I expect a lot of overload blitzes if we do get this kind of look, a lot of creeper blitzes and spinning out into coverage. Again, for me, another indication that we're moving towards more zone coverage in the defense because we want to create confusion with fronts like this and with the personnel packages that we have. All right, so next question we got here. Are they going to dip into the portal after the spring? I strongly believe we are going to. In a couple situations that I'm expecting. One, offensive line. They need somebody, but it's very similar to the basketball team, where what they need is depth. And are you going to be able to dip into the portal and get a guy who's like, hey, by the way, you're going to be the swing tackle? why would someone leave another situation to do that? What you would end up getting is a young guy from a smaller program looking to build up through the next couple of years, maybe a bounce back, junior college type guy, something like that. We're not going to get a starter in the portal when it comes to depth for like offensive line, and I don't think we need that. I think that is a bit of a again. I don't think that depth issue is as bad as we think, but we need an extra body. Just because we lost more this offseason than we gained in terms of experienced bodies. Talent, that's up for everyone else to debate, but that will be interesting. Other than that, I maybe defensive line. Again, just to fill depth, but are we going to find a guy who wants to come in off of the portal and be a 10 to 15 play a game 3-tech who's not going to have a big stat line? No. Again, we play a defensive system that unless you are a superstar NFL talent, your job is going to go unnoticed, even if you do your job. So, I don't know. So maybe offensive line, maybe defensive line. If the QB situation plays itself out how I kind of think it is, and we lose a quarterback in the transfer portal, then yes, I expect them to pick up a depth piece, a down the roster depth piece to at least get them through so they can practice how they want to this year. But I don't think they're going to go too crazy. We have right now also a scholarship situation where we're over the projected, or we're projected to be over the scholarship limit when it comes to fall camp. I'm not necessarily worried about that because in the day and age of NIL, scholarships don't mean anything. You know, schools are giving walk-ons NIL deals that cover their tuition. They'll do that. So just because we have 88 guys on the roster right now who are scholarship players, not all of them are going to have officially a scholarship when the season comes around. They'll find their way around it. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it navigates. But I don't expect a huge movement, except maybe for the offensive and defensive line. All right, next question here we don't have a featured running back on this roster. The closest is always hurt. That's not Wisconsin football. To that I say, good. Because the day of the feature back is over. Because of a situation that you just discussed. Feature every down backs are rare these days because that is moving away from how football is played these days. And you have to think about efficiency. It is more efficient for an offense to divide those carries amongst 3 healthy backs than it is to just give them to one guy and pounding them into the ground. This is why for years Wisconsin running backs would go to the NFL and they would fizzle out after a year or two at best because they took so much damage in college because of the volume of carries that they ran out of gas. Remember, running backs at the next level don't fade away. They fall off the cliff. And for Wisconsin backs, they fall off the cliff early. And teams have seen that. And also, again, if you have one player who's the focal point of your offense and he gets hurt, your offense is in trouble. Or if that one player is the focal point of the offense and the defense can scheme around it, i.e. anytime Paul Chryst played against a team that would just focus on Jonathan Taylor and force Alex Hornibrook and Jack Cohn or whatever, one of those quarterbacks to beat them, and they never did. You need to have diversity in the backfield. It's better for the players long term. They're going to stay healthier, hopefully. And then also, if you lose one of those pieces, it's easier to replace a small part of a backfield combined committee than it is to replace the entire committee. That's the way football has gone. It's going to be better for their careers, but it's also better for the offense. You need players who can stay on the field, and you can maximize skill sets. And that's the direction we're going. So no, we do not have a feature back on the roster. Ches has had injury bad luck in his career. Not saying he's injury prone. I would strongly say that Braylon Allen was more injury prone than Ches Malusi. Ches Malusi just had worse luck. Because again, go back and think. How many games have we talked about with him being, with Braylon being dinged up? Now, if Ches gets dinged up or goes down, 1A is out, 1B moves up, and then we try to replace 1B's reps, and we just go down the line. It's much easier to replace one piece than the entire offense. So that's why I'm not worried about not having a feature back, because the feature back is a endangered species. And finally, I get this a lot. And I get this in my comments. I get this on videos. I get it everywhere. What makes you an expert on the Badgers? Why should I listen to someone who can't even coach high school? You shouldn't have to. I'm not making you. Am I an expert? No. I am you. I just chose to show my face and make my opinions public. I don't consider myself an expert. I have an understanding. I understand the offense. I understand football as a whole. I have coached it for a long time. Doesn't matter what level. I've coached it. So I have that baseline of knowledge. But I am not any better than anybody else, nor do I present myself as. I'm just giving my opinion. And the important thing for you as a fan is to make your own opinion on what you see and do your own research into what you're seeing, what you're understanding, etc. If I can be a small part of that research, great. If I can be a trigger point to get you to go try to find more and better information, even better. And if I can help you engage as a fan and get you to want to learn more, then I've done what I've set out to do. Because the whole reason why I started doing stuff like this is I get frustrated watching experts who script the little things. Not knowing the difference between an end around and a reverse, not knowing the difference between an RPO and a play action pass. And when Wisconsin made the big change from the pro style to the air raid, it's the simple misconceptions of the offense that frustrated me as someone who had studied the offense for as many years as I have. So I took that as a spark to get me interested, to make me want to do more and want me to learn more. I've learned a lot about the offense in the last year because it's really made me focus on learning the offense from a different point of view. You know, up until now, I've been studying from the Leach tree and his approach to the offense. And up until now, my experience with Phil Longo was technique, was footwork wise. So it's given me a new perspective, and that has helped me grow as a coach, and it's going to help me continue to grow as a analyst, content creator, whatever you want to call. But I'm not an expert. I'm just a fan who's chosen to give my opinion and to share what knowledge that I have. Be your own expert. And that's all I can say about that. So, but keep asking this question because I'm going to keep answering it. All right, so there are the first few questions of this month's Q&A. Probably do another one when we get closer to fall camp. If you want to hear more from this month, go down below and go to the Substack link and also go to the link on Badger Notes, where you can get some written answers to a few more questions that I got this month. And if you have questions that haven't been answered, that you'd like to get answered, ask them in the comments. You can always send or leave comments on Substack and everything like that, and I'll get to them in the next Q&A that I do later in the year. All right, so that's enough for today. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.